Hi, I'm Mark Lawson, president of Morningstar Music Publishers, and we are joined today by composer and organist Michael Burkhardt. And Michael has just written a new collection of hymn introductions that we have published, and we're going to discuss a little bit about hymn introductions and his approach. So, welcome, Michael.
Thank you. It's good to be with you today.
So, this is the third in a set of hymn introduction collections that you've done. And so, tell us a little bit about this and particularly about your philosophy about hymn introductions.
Well, in each of the three volumes of the hymn introductions, they're shorter than the improvisations that I often do and the improvisations that you've published. Um, but I think the main goal of the hymn introductions and of these collections is to give something to organists that they can use to try to hook their congregations into singing the tune that's to follow. And by a hook, I mean something musically that will captivate their interest, or pique their interest and excite them about the prospect of getting to sing that tune that's in front of them. I think it's sometimes it's easier for new tunes because they're fresh in and of themselves. But in this collection, we include both chestnut tunes, I would call them, as well as new tunes. And sometimes it's harder for those tunes we've sung and those texts we've sung over and over, every year to make them appear fresh. And so I think that's the organist's, responsibility through that hymn introduction. Basically, you're the conductor of the piece, and it's the introduction is your preparatory conducting gesture for the hymn you are about to sing, both in terms of its affect or character, as well as in terms of how are we going to sing the text, articulately, and make sense out of it. And perhaps the best thing I could say about any hymn introduction, you have to give it as much attention as you give to your repertoire and as you do to the individual stanzas of the hymn. Because if it's not prepared technically well or artistically well, I think it doesn't accomplish the goal that we want it to.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that the beauty that you bring forth out of the tune, creativity, is also an important thing to kind of plant how you want them to sing as well, whether it's the tempo or something about the way that the hymn should feel. You always seem to be able to do that well.
I think that's the goal. And I think by the kind of texture we use or the registration colors we use, we can also encourage them to use a certain vocal color to sing it. So if we want it to be an early American style, we can accomplish that with the registrations that we do or the articulation that we do. Um, and it's a very subliminal thing, but my experience is that it can work if we're aware of it prior to setting out to do what we're going to do.
hmm So, what are some tunes that you're particularly excited about that are in this collection?
Um, well, I'm excited to share settings of some of those well-known tunes like Aurelia and Cum Ronda. And I know there are lots of settings out there of those, but I think for a hymn introduction, we can't always use a full-fledged chorale prelude, as we talked about earlier. And so to have something brief that might bring the congregation into the singing, I think is an important thing. But I'm also excited about some of the new tunes. I love Carl Schock's tune, the Robbie tune, Dirkson's Innisfree Farm, and also Kaylee Scott's Shades Mountain. Um, and I think it's important to include new tunes because they've made their way into our hymnals, but we don't always have a way or a choir to teach them to our congregation prior to the singing of a new tune. And while I wouldn't consider those brand new tunes, they're new to some of the new hymnal publications. And I think we want to allow what I would consider our largest choir to feel good about singing something that's newer and to sing it with a certain sort of intelligibility in terms of understanding the tune in terms of its relationship to the text, but also the tune in relationship to the musical attributes that it contains, whether it be the multimeter of Innisfree Farm or the gentle lilting quality of Robbie tune. So I'm excited that those are part of the collection.
Great. Well, I hope everyone will take a chance to look at our website and to see the listing of all the tunes in this. And then there are a few samples, audio samples on there as well. So I also would invite you to look at Michael's composer bio page to see the full list of publications that have come from Michael. So thank you very much for taking time to join us, and we wish you the very best.
And thank you.
All right.
And I would just wish everybody well and thank them. Thank everybody who's leading congregational song for their attention to it, because we've lost that a little bit since our time of COVID, and trying to bring communal song back to the forefront is a big deal. And we know that the community that can sing the faith can share the faith as well.
It's very true, very true. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.